listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Justified After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Justified After Show.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for doing it. We are here doing another AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Justified Season 4, Episode 9. I'm John Comerford, and I'm joined on the panel by Tamara Berg.
Hey, everybody.
And Steve Bottomley.
Hi.
Joe Braswell's out on assignment. We hope he'll be back next week. But helming the booth for us, as always, Marissa Serafini. Hello, Marissa.
Hello, everyone.
Well.
Hi, Marissa.
Well, yeah. Mystery solved.
That's right. Shelby is revealed. Or I should say Drew Thomas is revealed.
Thompson.
Thompson. Already screwing up.
First sentence out.
Exactly. So we're starting at a high bar here. So we had a lot of people writing in
We
about
did.
it.
I got a tweet right after last week's episode from Danette CJ predicting that it was Sheriff Shelby. Also, Toby Wan Kenobi, C.
Great
Golden
name.
36, and MB Archer all called it. I did not call it.
Well, no, we went with the other.
Yeah, we went with the other. And, you know, there was also some speculation that Sheriff Shelby, after last week's episode, was a red herring because we know that they give us those in Justified. And so, but they did not get it by a lot of the viewers who did predict Sheriff Shelby was indeed Drew Thompson.
A lot of them pointing to the fact that he was so interested in Drew Thompson's.
Thompson's.
Did I say it again?
You said something.
Wow.
Drew Thompson's ex-wife or widow. They were interested in. He was interested in that. And it was a couple of people said it was beyond obvious.
But we also had a lot of people commenting that were and writing in and tweeting that they thought it was Gerald McRaney for the same reasons that we did. Yeah. Because why would you bring him on, and why would he do the show if he was only coming in for a couple episodes? So that was also, that could have been a red herring as well.
Right.
So we had a lot of theories.
Do you think we're done with Gerald McRaney?
I don't know at this point.
I don't know.
Last time we saw him, he was just about to get his foot torched. And they rescued him, and then that's...
I would love to see him back, but he's obviously not Drew Thompson, so...
Well, and that,
that bums me out a little.
Yeah, and that would be the reason. Did they bring him on just to be the red herring?
Could be. They're that clever on this show.
So, that's another theory that's been postulated as well.
Yes, indeed.
So, very interesting. And it was great. Of course, Hunter the whole time with him in the car, it was kind of a blast today.
With when Raylan when Raylan picked him up.
Oh, the whole thing.
The bus goes by. It's like,
whoa, wait a minute.
Shucks, oh dear.
Raylan, the iconic Raylan, sitting, leaning against the car. Nice. And then,
now, were you worried for Hunter when he's getting in that car with Raylan? Were you thinking, are we going to see a really dark side of Raylan here?
I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, I thought he was going to get his Raylanisms in and maybe a few shots here and there, but I wasn't worried that he was going to do anything horrible. I didn't think it was going to go rogue or anything like that.
I thought he was going to be a little bruised after this, as it turned out he was,
exactly.
And that Raylan was definitely going to be trying to be persuasive with him.
Persuasive. That's very diplomatic of you. Yes.
Thank you.
So, but I didn't for a second. I mean, I was curious. I mean, I didn't understand. It didn't. Why Hunter would just jump out and get
hit by a truck.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? I still am going. Really, I just have a hard time understanding that. Like
that was.
I mean, why not just take the damn deal?
Yeah, well, that was why it kind of surprised me a little bit. Based on what Hunter was doing and based on how people were so reluctant to talk. Yeah, I was thinking Drew Thompson.
You got it right.
Okay, thank you.
Now that I've screwed it up.
If only there was some way I could write that name down. Oh my God, a pen. I was thinking he was bigger than Sheriff Shelby. I just figured he was like a more powerful individual, or you know, because the guy's standing in front of a truck.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know,
I mean,
it was a great reveal.
Yeah,
know.
they made the case. He said why and everything, and I understood. I clearly understood what he was talking about, but I was just going, well, I didn't see him. I mean, I get it. He's a lawman. He's going to prison. Going to get killed in prison. If I'm going to get killed anyway, I'm going to go on my terms. All that kind. I understand all that stuff, but he had outs, and I was just wondering. I didn't quite see why they didn't really pin him in enough of a corner for me to him jumping in front of a bus. I mean, a truck. Just didn't. But I mean, it was certainly great TV. That was a lot of fun.
No, there's a couple of great moments in there. When he takes Hunter, when Raylan takes Hunter to visit with Wynn Duffy, which is always a great.
Wynn Duffy always entertaining.
Oh my God, you can just sit and just watch that guy.
And
they use him so smart, just a little bit, just a little bit. You don't if too much, and it's just too much.
And I just love that he's in an RV and it's just everywhere.
And with these great lines, I had a Yorkie when I was little. You know, just these great throwaway lines. But I was like, why are they doing it? And then it made sense. Now he has this leverage. Yeah. Look, now you're gonna die.
Raylan just trying to suss it out.
Yeah, now there's a hit on you. Yeah. And you still don't want this deal.
Yeah. So because I honestly thought he was gonna take the deal at some point.
I would have.
Yeah.
So.
There are obviously big stakes involved in it, such that he's not, or great, as we learn later, you know, great things to pay back. Now, I just want to bring up one thing that, you know, was a little bit difficult for me because maybe I have some facial blindness or something. But do you think it's intentional? Do you think it just happened that Shelby and Hunter are so similar looking?
They look like,
you know, middle-aged guys, you know, short hair, beards, and you know, I mean, do you think
one's a lot older? That's all. Is there any kind of, I don't know.
You think, are you going like the brother thing?
I don't know. I'm not really making any speculation. I'm really just posing the question. Is it something that was intentional because they you know, are going to do like I don't know, prisoner exchange for each one of them's going to twin switch at birth. I don't know.
Interesting.
But it was to be honest with you, it was a little confusing for me from time to time because it's a little hard for me to get them clear in my head. And I just don't know if that was
intentional.
Yeah, if you guys think that was intentional or if it just happened that way.
Well, I didn't notice the similarities, but I don't know if they're going to do anything with it.
Right.
Yeah. But
okay,
yeah,
sorry. I didn't mean to take us off topic.
One was wearing orange.
Oh, that's true.
If that helps. And one was in a uniform.
One stabbed Arlo to death.
There's that.
Yeah.
All right. So Raylan, of course, saves him from the semi coming down the pike.
Right.
But decides to beat him up after that, which I thought he was taking out a little aggression. I don't know, maybe some issues with, I don't know, pertaining to things that have happened recently in his life.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about him being able to cover it with, you know, his falling out of the car gave him a little more latitude than he might have in other situations.
Yeah, but that was a little bit of the dark side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he was cuffed.
Yeah.
And Raylan was just, and then what was so interesting afterwards is the line they give him. I'm just doing, you know, what my daddy says. What my dad used to tell me is trying to beat some sense.
Oh, yeah.
That was the very
quotes
revealing.
Arlo right after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, although
in the words of Arlo Givens, I'm trying to knock some goddamn sense into
There you go.
Yeah.
Clearly, we know they've had.
Do you actually write every damn line?
No, I don't. But I write down the ones that are interesting to me.
Okay.
It turns out that a lot of those are interesting to you too.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually reading your notes.
You can't read them. I can barely read them.
I'm sorry. We're having our thing over
You are.
here.
But let's get back to Hunter and Raylan.
Oh, that's right. We're doing our show.
So, you know, because last week we saw in the coming ups, we knew that Hunter was turning to somebody and said, "So,
hey, Drew."
Hey, Drew. So we knew we assumed, of course, and rightly so, that it was going to be revealed. So as it happened, what was your feeling? I mean, just was like, was it a letdown? Was it like, or was it just, oh yeah, it makes sense?
You know, the problem with doing this show is you have a lot of smart listeners.
Right.
And you go through the notes, and when a note hits and goes, oh, that's interesting, now you start watching, now you start.
Yeah.
So when the reveal hit, it was not as, oh
shocking.
My God. Yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, that made sense. So
well, here's what I was thinking about it, because, you know, obviously we've heard everybody else's theories and we had our own. And one of the reasons why I didn't want it to be Sheriff Shelby is because I liked the mystery. I wanted to hang on to the mystery a little bit, just a couple more episodes. I wanted to really get into who could it be and have a couple more red herrings and a couple of chases. on who it might be and that kind of thing. So when
especially
it happened,
because they've been whittling down the suspects.
Exactly.
So
And
it's getting more exciting.
Exactly. I wanted a little bit more before it got revealed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure plenty of audience members are probably hoping, no, let's just get to it, because now it'll be interesting to see, okay, great, now that we all know, now what are we going to do with it? So it'll still be interesting. It's just that for me, I was really getting into who could it be. I wanted, and I liked that there were so many different theories out there. And now, obviously some people had really strong opinions about it.
Yes.
But I just wanted to have a little bit more fun before we got it revealed. So for me, it was a little bit of a letdown just because I was thinking that way.
Right. And to that, I tend to agree with you on that, but to that, because I trust this show so much, I'm certain that we won't be let down next week because there will be something else.
No, not at all. Well, I was let down for about 10 seconds, then it's like, oh, this is going to be fun how they do this.
Right. And, Graham Yost, who's great at teasing things and not telling us what's going on, mentioned in, I think it was an interview last week that this show was going to be big, and that episode 10 was going to be very big.
A lot of
now that we know who Shelby is, now
Drew Thompson.
Yeah. I think we're going to see another side of Shelby Thompson.
Sure.
Right.
Once he has to start to survive.
Right.
So I don't. First of all, I don't think we're done with Hunter. And we're obviously not done with Thompson.
Right.
I think Hunter comes back.
Oh, really?
I think so.
How?
You want to say that for predictions?
I'll say that for predictions.
All right.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Interesting. I wouldn't, because for me, he's...
Yeah, they kind of... They kind of...
Well, let's talk about it. The last few words he had with Raylan. I mean, that was the most poignant of the show. Well, of this show, this particular episode, for me, it was the way he was talking about
the only reason why I'm thinking he comes back is actually off of your point that they did a lot of shots showing them together, and they did a lot of that's not a mistake in casting, I don't think.
Right.
So I think there may be something about them looking so close together, and because I keep going back to, why would he step in front of a truck? You don't do that for a guy unless there's a real strong connection.
Yeah, and we know that obviously he stepped in front of a truck for Hunter when the whole Miami people were looking into it and all that other stuff. So obviously, exactly. So maybe he's just returning the favor. But it seemed, they didn't really get into exactly the details behind that because obviously Shelby didn't step in front of a truck, and he eventually went on to have a life where he's back in the sheriff's department, so it's not like he was a horrible experience for him.
Right.
So there seems to be something else going on there that at least I don't know. Maybe somebody else out there knows. What's up with that?
Going back to the Hunter thing, were you talking about the when Raylan was talking about his last poignant moments with his father?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had
firmly planted in his cheek.
But
he told me he loved me. He said he was sorry for being a dick.
And he'll be watching over me.
He'll be watching over me. Sorry, he's not to get to watch me grow up.
Yeah. But again,
all
with
from
the show,
it's a subtext of Kiss My Ass.
It is subtext.
But he wanted to hear that. That even though he was throwing it off like whatever, that's really what he wanted to hear Arlo say.
Yeah,
he did give him one more chance to.
And when Hunter was in the car actually talking to Shelby.
Yeah.
Again, he was saying it's who we are.
Yeah. It goes back to that.
But a lot of it, it's still going to Raylan. He's still telling Raylan, and again, he nailed it at the end.
That's what I mean. Yeah, this is the part I'm talking about specifically.
What side of your parents do you follow? Which voice do you listen to? Yeah. So they hit that beat a lot.
Yeah, but I like the way he did it too, because he even said, the whole thing about whatever his mother said, Frances said to him, which is if you follow your mother's voice or words, then you're going to turn out all right. And it almost sounded like he was just this shade of almost sincere.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is? And then turns it around on with the other thing, which is absolutely true. And everybody's been saying that, how he's really driven by what his father wasn't and what he could have been and all that kind of thing.
And now that Arlo's gone, what's he gonna do?
And who's driving him now?
Yep.
We actually talked about, and even we talked about last week. Did we talk about that? Yeah, we talked about it last week, and then Graham Yost was talking about it as well in an interview this week about what's going to drive Raylan now.
Right, now that his father's gone.
That driving force in his life is now gone. What's he gonna put in its place? What's gonna do? So that'll be very interesting to see how they handle that issue, because he's rudderless at the moment.
Right.
That thing that was there, it's still going to be there, but that influence is also gone as well.
Well, and there's a lot of storylines that they're kind of not following right now.
Right.
The mother, maybe baby,
Winona.
Winona, who was in Aurora.
Yeah.
Another town.
She's in The Following.
She's yes.
She's in The Following.
She's in Followingville, and so they're not really following that story.
Well, I'm sure we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
But the point is, they really are just isolating.
Yeah, that's true. But they are, the whole reason why he wanted to go get this Drew Thompson and do the whole thing and get it done was to help write his ticket to provide for his child.
Right.
So it's there in a very cursory way.
Right.
But that's part of his drive. So maybe that's what they're using to supplant his father not being there. So, listen, we talked a lot about all the people writing in. Steve, why don't you follow through on that?
Well, we do like to have people write in. We read all the notes. If you're on iTunes and you download and enjoy our podcast and our shows, tell a friend, leave us a comment, ask questions, or, tell us how we're doing so wonderful. Or not.
Give us ratings as
Give
well.
us ratings. We're up to about 3 million a day in downloads. People are really finding this and enjoying the show, and we really, really appreciate your input.
Oh, I don't have a lot of the iTunes ones. I have some YouTube ones. Okay. FM Illustrated, Jackhammer, King of Hearts.
Yeah.
Depp with a bunch of zeros.
There you go. And for those of you who are concerned about our lacks on facts, I should say, you're absolutely right. We'll do our best to tighten that up for you.
Which, by the way, was the worst Dr. Seuss book ever.
Lacks on facts.
Yeah. Oh my God, did that thing suck? But oddly enough, Jim Carrey's going to do the movie.
Yeah. Well, of course he is.
Go figure.
It was good to see Tim get back in this.
Yes, it was.
They opened with him.
That's right. And we were wondering when they were going to get back to the storyline, of course, meaning the showdown between the two Army vets.
Yes.
Okay, but
before
let
we
me
get into that, go ahead.
I got to say, that opening was confusing because I think you could watch the shot he took.
Yeah.
That was a headshot.
Mark,
right.
The vet that got shot.
That was a headshot.
It looked like a headshot. It did.
And yet, no, he got shot in the chest, according to the thing, because he was able.
Because he had to text.
Yeah, he was able to drag his way across. So that opening sequence got a little like, I don't know.
So when you saw it, you definitely saw that it looked like he got shot in the head.
Know,
as opposed to
the bullet's buried in the wall above the couch.
Okay, I didn't notice that, but all right.
Yeah, they had a big number 2 there, and,
okay.
and usually if you get shot in the chest, I don't think your head jerks back that way. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll need to check Zapruder.
Zapruder film.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a little confusing for me, but essentially it was Mark, right?
Right.
Who crawled in his skivvies and
texted the Bagram thing.
Right. Okay.
Which was a great, at least we got back to how we got there.
And a neat little way to say, this guy killed me.
Exactly. That part I thought was terrific.
Yeah.
But it was interesting that Tim was not giving any of that up.
Right, exactly. He was being incredibly evasive.
Exactly. It's like, whoa.
He's a lawman.
I know.
Granted, he's affiliated with a drug-buying murder victim.
Right.
So, you do tend to be a little bit more...
But what I'm curious
when it happens to me, I tend to be a little more evasive.
I know, but I didn't see him going this route where he's not going to give information to the locals.
Really?
He's going to take it into his own hands.
Because I was seeing it as, now he's understanding Raylan. Now he's starting
because
to
he covered for Raylan.
And he's also kind of been watching and he's also kind of, giving Raylan crap about how he does the job.
True.
But now he's in Raylan's shoes of like, I can handle this one.
Oh, and we also heard Art talking about his crew. He said that, he's got PTSD. He's got, who knows when he's going to pop. But I just didn't, it just seems... I was like, what the heck? Because I thought, I don't know why he couldn't do both is my question. I had 2 things that were really bothering me about it. And I don't, not saying a bad way. I was just going, it was strange to me that he couldn't give them information and still go do what he did, which is follow up on,
follow up with Colt.
Exactly. Follow up with Colt and find him and all that other stuff. And also, then when he found him, do you mind if we move on to that? When he actually stopped Colt from choking Cassie?
No, yeah.
Right, sure.
So he's in there stopping that. So he's stopping Colt from ostensibly killing her, or at least, if nothing else, assault. So he's got him there, and the whole standoff, and then Boyd comes in. but then lets him go. I mean, he had a guy who had his hands on a woman's throat. And as a marshal, I mean, he is a peace officer. Yeah, Boyd was right. But shouldn't he have stopped him? Shouldn't he have done something? Shouldn't he have hauled him in? I don't know.
That part.
It's like, why is he?
That part,
why didn't he not stop him? Take the gun? I don't know. Something lolly.
Yeah.
Something.
That was a moment where I was thinking, okay, if you think it's him, now you have cause, and you can get him in and get your hands on the gun that might match ballistics.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering why they did that.
I'm not sure, because it was really outside of what I would expect the writers to pick up on, and
unless they have a reason for it, they might have a complete great reason for it. We just don't know what it is yet.
Well,
those were the two things I'm going. Wow, this is I haven't seen Tim like this. It's like, why would he let him go? And
on the first point,
because it looked like he was going to kill her.
On the first point, though, about not giving up anything, it might have been the thought behind it. Might have been maybe he didn't put it all together yet.
Sure.
Maybe he honestly at that moment really didn't have anything, and then we didn't get to see him figure it out or whatever. But I totally agree on the second point. I really thought Colt was going in. I thought Colt was going to die, to be honest. So when he just let him walk, I'm thinking, okay, you better pay this off, because that's an odd decision.
In the beginning, when he's not saying anything, when Tim's not saying anything to the local PD, I was just going, okay.
He's got his reasons, and
we don't know what
they are.
We don't know what they are yet, but I didn't get to ask your take on that, Tamara. What do you think?
Well, I actually, because our fans, not just our fans, but I mean the Justified fans really have such great insight. I'd actually like to put it out to them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's out of character for Tim. The one thing that I do know is one of the things that the writers often talk about is Elmore Leonard characters don't change.
They never change. Yeah.
And so
Arlo never said anything on his deathbed.
Right, and why we have to remember that Boyd's a gangster. He's through and through.
Yeah.
And so but we do see them kind of veer off of their paths from time to time, and maybe consider other changes, but ultimately they don't change. And so I don't have great insight on.
Yeah. And the other thing, because they've also many times talked about clearly police officers, marshals, FBI's. They don't always play well together.
Right.
And I was just wondering, maybe it's just that. But you'd think that, okay, this guy killed and if Tim's going to go out there and try to figure all this out, clearly Mark meant something to him. So but why wouldn't you want the resources available to you, having a whole other detectives helping you, etc.?
Here could be one part of it, and that is that his friend was a criminal as well.
But they already knew that because he's in a drug.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that his friend's death might not be getting justice by the law in the traditional way because his friend is a criminal. And so maybe Tim is figuring that he's got to go around back channels because his friend's not going to get his due.
Then again, if that's the case, wouldn't he be able to just tell the police department, hey, look,
this guy means something to me,
and I'm
and the conversation they had in the room was not that vibe. That I didn't pick that vibe up. The conversation in the room was, we really want to close this. Is there anything you can tell us about it? For whatever reason, anyway, they seemed really.
So let's hopefully, if anybody has any thoughts, ideas about that, it's great. And I'm hoping that they'll follow up on that. That'll be great. But I also thought, the whole thing about the gun too is like, why didn't he arrest him or do something? Because
when they did that shot of him pulling the gun out, I'm like, there you go. There's your ballistic. You've got to want to get a hold of that gun.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said. You see, he pulled the gun. You knew it was a .45. It's like, hello.
The other possibility could be that Tim's thinking that Colt can lead him to the bigger fish.
The big.
It's not just about the murder of Mark, and in this situation that there's something bigger going on, and that's what Tim's going after.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if I help them out and we just get to Colt, or if I just kill Colt, it's not going to solve the problem because there are bigger things going on.
All right. So, and Tim somehow thinks there are bigger things going on. Okay.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well.
Well, let's see what the fans have to say.
I'm sure they'll have opinions and thoughts. That'll be great.
I know that.
They were right about Sheriff Shelby.
They were awesome about that.
A lot of them were.
If anyone wants to send in
all
some...
of them had, I think, valid theories. I thought they were great.
Sure.
So. Yeah. All right, so we didn't talk much about Shelby at all. Just that we did a little bit. I'm talking about, we didn't talk his thinking or what he had to say about it and his thoughts. Now he steals Patton's gremlin.
Right.
Which
Poor Constable Bob loses his police car, his cruiser, as he called it.
Before we get in, let's just talk Constable Bob.
Let's talk Constable Bob,
that's fun.
who, by the way, Patton Oswalt is pretty brilliant on Twitter. So all of you who are out there on Twitter, take a look at Patton Oswalt, because he live tweets during a lot of things, and he's, as you might imagine, very funny.
Stand-up, he's quite clever,
he's
quite
really
funny,
good. He's a great person to follow on Twitter.
Okay, so Constable, first of all, it's just great to see him as always.
Love Constable Bob.
In his gremlin.
Well, he finally got to get the go bag.
He grabs his go bag.
Nice. We finally get to see what's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just his,
fully automatic.
He's like hemming and hawing his anxiety before he goes walking up to the door and knocking on it, and then gets basically schooled and gets sent away, and then decides
they were rude.
They were rude.
That was
horrible.
rude.
What happened to that Southern hospitality? Didn't even invite him in. Nothing.
That was terrible.
So send him away, and then he says, "That's it. I'm not taking this." And he goes, that part I was just okay, and just the things he was coming up with to say.
Yeah, it was.
And then it ends up, how do you get that close and start a gunfight and nobody gets hit?
Especially when all you have is a gremlin to hide behind, or the railing on a balcony.
They're at the door together, for crying out loud, both aiming at each other. Now that's how horrible these guys are. No, these are not Raylan, that's for sure. They got terrible.
Constable Bob has a fully automatic weapon, and they're behind a railing
on a balcony.
And everyone's okay.
Yeah,
so.
That's great. But it was great though, because that's how bad of a shot he is.
Absolutely.
He literally can't hit the side of a barn.
And again, just how they use Wynn Duffy, they use Constable Bob the right amount. They're very, very smart about it.
When Raylan comes up and stops everything, it was interesting because here Constable Bob trying to use his words to have the authority that it should be to tell them to drop their weapons. Nothing. No. Yeah. Raylan shows up, says, "Guns down." They all just put their
and also, wasn't it hilarious that Raylan comes up and he's not afraid of the gunfire?
Yeah, well, he's used to it by now.
He's just walking out. There's an automatic weapon, and he's just going, "Okay, dudes, chill." He's so Raylan.
You too, Bob. Put the gun down, damn it.
Exactly.
But I loved it when he grabbed his go bag, because he just the way he was talking. Finally got his go bag.
Finally got to use his
now, what else is in that damn go bag? If that has a semi-automatic or an automatic, whatever the heck that is.
I think it was fully.
Yeah, rice.
Ricin,
yeah.
No, that's Breaking Bad, I think. But anyway, and then and that's where, of course, Raylan gets all the information from him. But which was a fun scene. Very interesting. But anyway, so where was I going on that? Oh yeah.
Real quick on that scene, and we had to watch it a couple of times. You got it, but Tammy and I were on the slow side of the couch.
Thanks, Steve.
But just real quickly, he was able to put it together because Constable Bob slipped out that they were actually old friends.
Hunter and Shelby.
Yeah, well, he didn't know the whole history, so he got all the history, and he didn't know that, obviously, that Shelby had taken one for Hunter. So he didn't know really the long history, so that's when he started putting together. I'm sure it was really confirmed when he goes after the car and have the cuffs on and stuff. But it was interesting that Hunter decides, again, I was like, it was another very interesting choice. Why doesn't Hunter run? I mean, he explains it, but I'm going, okay, but let's think beyond that for a second. It's clear we understand his motives, but seriously, why? What's the pathology there?
Right.
You don't run. You don't move on. You don't, so you're headed.
Well, he knows he's just going to run through in an orange jumpsuit.
Well, but also, why didn't Shelby / Drew Thompson offer to take him with him?
That was another thing I was going. That's very.
I think that's and it's a very obvious.
And the writers attend to it because it's the way we are. Okay, well, yeah, I get that. That's fine and everything, but really, seriously, when you're facing death, I mean, I know that everybody here has a code they live by and all that other stuff, and that's the world they live in. But I was going, but it just would have been, I don't know.
Would have taken the shot.
Yeah, you'd think they would have taken the shot.
I think we have answers coming our way.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there are theories, but
better be.
And no, I'm sure there'll be great theories. But my theory is, I don't care. I know. I think that if certain death is facing you, and you've been handcuffed, you've been trying to escape or at least kill yourself. Here you have the opportunity to at least get a shot at freedom, and you don't take it. I think it's an interesting choice, and I like it for the show. It was fun.
Yeah.
But there wasn't.
Which is part of my thesis.
Oh, really?
Perhaps he didn't run because he's covered it another way.
Could be.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, while Constable Bob is trying to get the courage to go to the door, the song that's playing is all about living a lie and people thinking you're not who you are. And the lyrics in the song are so good.
You know, I didn't even catch that.
Oh God, it was hilarious.
That's nice.
That's
all right.
good.
Okay.
Good
Well, what else we got? What else do we wanted to chat about?
Well, have we?
Do we want to talk about Boyd and Colt?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Well, first of all, you know, again, we were in that situation where I assumed that Boyd, when, you know, Johnny started saying,
he's a liar. And
he's a liar and all that stuff, I just, you know, figured Boyd had it all figured out.
Yeah.
And, you know, when he didn't, it kind of surprised me. Anyway, so then the conversation between Colt and Boyd, which was a little, you know, Harlan roulette-y. There are guns coming out. No, really, put it up behind my head. I want to see exactly where you did it. He's really testing him. It was tense. It helped us remember who Boyd is, and I liked that. I liked remembering it.
Okay, no, so it really worked for you because I didn't for a second. I wasn't worried that Boyd was going to get shots, but it was tense enough for you that.
Well, I wasn't concerned that Boyd was going to get shot. No, but I was, you know, anticipating that Colt was.
Colt at some point we get shot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think he will.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's long for this world.
The tension in it for me was if it really was a game of chess. If Colt knew or thought that Boyd knew, and then Boyd turns around and says, "No, show me." So it was, in a sense, what you're saying, the Harlan roulette, because if Colt thought for a second that Boyd knew, Colt knows he's dead.
Right.
You know, so it was just the tension, the scene, and again, I'm thinking, I'm surprised Colt's still alive.
Yeah, that was another interesting, you know, because in other cases we've seen Boyd just, he's done.
Well, and Colt was so ready. He was so willing to kill people in last week's episode.
Yeah.
That there was very high body count last week.
Yeah.
That, you know, I was just kind of ready for that to happen because he's a loose cannon, so to speak, with the heroin and him being concerned about everything.
Did you guys get the feeling at all? I did. Let me ask your opinion of it. When Boyd first puts the gun up to his forehead and kind of they have that moment there, it looked like he was ready to die. It looks like he's like, fine, just do it, get it out, you know, put me out of my misery. Did you guys get that feeling or no?
Well, I got the feeling that he was just resigned to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ready for it, but I think he realized, oh, this is it, I screwed up. And what do you think?
I just got the feeling that, you know, okay, I've got two options. That one I'm not so upset about, but it's not like he would. It's not like he was going to, you know, fight for it one way or the other. But you know, he's like, oh look, it didn't happen today.
But it's gonna.
It means I'm gonna get to shoot up again.
Yeah.
We never saw the follow through on how Johnny got the money, or if he went. Is the money still there? Or?
No, but I keep thinking he's 20 grand richer.
Yeah.
Or close to it. I don't know what was in the. It'd be pretty weird if there was exactly 20 grand in that guitar case.
Yeah, Colt would have stayed there for a long time to see who would.
That's what I was thinking.
Do we want to mention a little something about Johnny?
Yes, why don't we say that now?
Yeah.
Tamara, please let everybody know.
David Munier, I think is how you say his name, who plays Johnny Crowder, is going to be on our show. Cousin Johnny's going to be on our show in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight. Very exciting. We just got it confirmed today.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
we are really looking forward to that. And of course, again, talking about our viewers, if you guys have questions, let us know. Write into us. You can tweet us or find us on our Facebook page or whatever, and let us know if you've got special questions for him.
Real quick,
Yeah.
with Colt, explanations always make it worse. When you've screwed up, you know, and trying to explain how you've screwed up, and nothing makes the character look weaker. Than having to just, I'm sorry. It's just like, oh my God, shut up. Just shut up.
But he is a druggie, so, you know, what can we expect from him? You know, so he's sweet. All right, what else we got?
Mortifying.
We got to, because we got to wrap up. We're running. Anything else?
Well,
great. Let's move on to predictions then.
Oh,
what?
Ava and Boyd looking for a house.
Oh, okay, real quick.
Just real quick. It was, you know, it was a departure of a scene, and it was the continuation, like you say, of the engagement and
Yeah,
you know
and,
the happy ending that we're going to have
and
with
this
Ava
is
Boyd.
interesting. We had talked, it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how, you know, it's the same thing that the mafia tries to do and the Corleones try to, you know, they'll be eventually out of this business. And Graham Yost was actually talking about that in last week's interview.
He was, yeah. And right, that everybody, that's always the dream. Everybody tries to go legit. They want to get out.
That's right.
Here, the thing I liked about it was the security system surprises her.
Yeah.
And I realized, yeah, they probably don't have a security system where they live.
That's true.
They don't need one.
That's
You
right.
know, everyone knows you don't mess with that house.
No.
And so here's one where they're like, well, you're going to need a security system up
Well,
here.
and how about the fact that her mother, you know, that's how far they've come in one generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But did you
so
get
the idea that their kids might be completely free of all this in 3?
Did you get the
grandkids,
idea
excuse me.
that the real estate agent was like fishing on whether or not they
had the funds?
or
what,
they deserve to live up
Yeah,
there, you know?
absolutely. I
You,
think
really?
Yeah, I did.
You got
absolutely.
that feel?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought she was really just concerned about the bank loans.
No, that's the feeling I got. And then
Okay.
it's
But
confirmed.
Boyd says we will be paying cash, obviating the need to get in the gutter with the banks.
Yeah, obviating these. Oh, hey, the other thing that Graham was confirmed for us, because we were wondering about the whole Shelby Ellen May thing. This is the thing I wanted to talk
Oh,
about
right,
earlier.
right.
That I
That's
forgot
right.
to.
We forgot about that.
Okay, so we were wondering whether or not there was going to be a love interest between the two, a
Romance,
romance,
right.
excuse me. And Graham was talking about how, well, you know, talk about a man with a code. Shelby obviously is a man with a code, and that even though he might think about it for a second, it's not something he's going to cross.
Pursue.
That line is something he wouldn't cross.
Right.
At least that's what he said. Who knows? Graham Yost said lots of
Graham
things.
Yost lies
He
in
does,
those
he lies a
interviews
lot.
sometimes.
All right, but that okay.
I'm
So that finishes.
saying,
We gotta
I'm
get to
saying on a
predictions.
cold night on the run,
Yeah, right. We got to get to predictions. So let's
code
move
or
on.
no code.
We just skipping my news?
Now,
No, we'll do it after.
your
Okay.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Steve. You said you had a prediction. Do you want to go ahead and?
Well, I already pimped it.
What was that?
I'm not. It's not a really strong one, but I think Sheriff Hunter comes back in some fashion.
so somehow he's gonna.
I think they're going to use him.
Prison?
I think they're going to. I don't think we're done with him.
Uh-huh.
You know. But again, it's a weak one.
Thank you for being honest with us.
The crystal ball was kind of murky.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know if it was that or I was just going to miss my bus. So.
Well, I think you know because Art talked about it early on in the season that you know Tim's got PTSD. I think the fact that Tim did not say anything to the local PD and also didn't haul Colt in when he saw the Colt, so to speak. I think that's showing him unravel a little bit, and I think the PTSD is coming out a little, and I think he doesn't want to because I think he actually wants to have retribution or some sort of revenge or something.
Wow.
And that's what I think he didn't do all that.
I know we're running late, but there was one more moment that hit me as odd. When he had the gun on Colt and Colt
Yeah.
still had his gun, he turned away and looked over his shoulder, which is a very un-Tim thing to do.
Well, he had put the gun back at that point. It
But
was
he
back in his-
still
I
had
know,
the
clearly.
gun.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time we see Tim, he's locked
Yeah,
on,
he
and
is.
he's just. And this time, again, the
It's
shot
almost
was
like he's baiting him. That's what I felt like. It's like he wants him to pull. He wants him to lift that gun up.
So that he will be justified in,
I
shooting
think
him.
so.
down.
I think that was my own. I didn't talk
wasn't
about
that
it
a weird
earlier,
moment?
but that's why I think he didn't take him in or didn't haul him off for choking Cassie and the whole thing. I think because he wants to have the opportunity to actually take him out and be justified doing it.
What's yours, Dan?
Well, the next 3 episodes I know the names of. They're Get Drew, Decoy, and Peace of Mind. Peace of Mind is fascinating. So obviously next episode is going to be about the pursuit of Drew Thompson.
Right.
But I think that there's going to be a return to the domesticity and the challenges that are coming for Raylan, because I'm sure the Winona thing is going to come back into play.
They mentioned that would come back.
Yeah, and so you know, I think Winona's going to get shot in the belly because I've been predicting that from the very beginning.
You're still sticking with that.
I'm sticking with that. I stuck with my, Drew Thompson being Gerald McRaney, and I was all wrong with that. But
Are you sure?
Yeah, indeed, I am sure.
All right.
You know, peace of mind, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean peace of mind.
No, it could mean
splatter on the wall.
It could mean the exact opposite of that.
Depends on how you spell it.
It's
all right. So, all right, we one little bit of news. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fox ordered a new pilot from Graham Yost. It's a Navy-themed show called Wild Blue from Sony Pictures Television. It's being executive produced by Graham Yost, Mark Johnson, and director Michael Dinner. Sorry about that, Marissa. We got our order a little bit messed up. Taylor Elmore is writing and co-executive producing. Taylor Elmore writes a lot of the episodes for Justified.
Yes.
I don't know when it's coming out, but that hasn't been reported yet, but it could be very interesting. Oh, and it's a sort of behind-the-scenes or upstairs-downstairs look at the pressure cooker lives of the U.S. Navy aboard an aircraft carrier.
Okay, so there we go.
So that will be interesting.
All right.
More, dude watch TV.
Okay.
So it's an English show?
Lots of
Yeah, right.
testosterone.
Upstairs, downstairs?
Upstairs,
right.
downstairs, yeah. Has a
All
lot
right,
to do
Marissa,
with silver.
thank you
and
very much.
servants.
So tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at Twitter at Serafini TV or on Once Upon a Time and Glee.
There you go. Steve.
Wow. Bottomley Steven on the Twitterians.
Yeah,
You can find me on Twitter at Tamara Berg. Also, my website is tamaracentral.com, and I'm doing Smash right after this show.
And you can find me on the big screen starting this Friday, March 8th, in selected theaters around the country.
Where?
Well, on the big theaters, and selected theaters in New York, Boston, Chicago, L.A., San Francisco. For Adventures of Serial Buddies. Yes, it's very nice. It's a very funny movie. It's serial killer buddy comedy. It's produced by our very own Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos.
Did you say Burbank?
Oh, that's right, Burbank. This weekend too.
They added
That's
Burbank.
Right. Yeah, we added Burbank. So it stars Beth Bears from Two Broke Girls, Artie Lang, Kathy Lee Gifford makes a cameo in it. It's hysterical.
She's
And
very
Christopher
funny.
Lloyd's in it, plays my father. He's wonderful. Kristen McDonald, Maria Menounos is also in it. Henry Winkler is the narrator of it. It's a lot of fun. Go see it. If you want to know where it is, go to where are we going? AfterBuzzTV.com. You can also find
Adventures of Serial
beg your
Buddies.com.
pardon,
You
Adventures
see
of
the
Serial
trailer there
Buddies.com.
too, I believe?
Yep.
Absolutely, the trailer there's too.
Or just go see the whole movie.
Or just go see the whole movie.
You don't need the trailer anymore. Friday, you can go sit in the whole movie and go, I don't need the trailer. I have the whole movie.
And depending where you are, you will see potentially Maria and Kevin are going to be at some of the screening. Some of the actors are going to be there. So depending on where you go, you can see some interesting people while you're seeing a fabulous film.
Well, you see interesting people in Burbank anyway.
That's true.
You don't need to go to the movie.
That's enough. We're done.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
I know who Drew Thompson is.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.